When it comes to horse racing, you can never have too much information. With Twin Spires, you can place your bets with confidence. Whether you use handicapping insights like our Brisnet speed ratings, prime power and past performances, the guidance of our experts' top picks, or just choose a name that catches your eye. Yes! No matter how you pick your horse, bet with Twin Spires. And now you can race to victory with Twin Spires tournaments.
We are back with the Twin Spires Racing Roundtable. I'm Ashley Anderson here with James Scully and Vance Hansen. It's been a whirlwind 3 weeks. We've been on the road with Twin Spires, and James and I were at Colonial Downs 2 weeks back, and then I was at Woodbine this past weekend. Now, James, Saratoga this weekend. Very busy.
Yeah, I'm excited to get up there and see the Travers. Should be dynamite this weekend.
We'll be talking about the Travers card as well as the Alabama, the Del Mar Oaks, and what else caught our eye from the weekend. And Vance, I'll start things off with you. Over the weekend, we had Power Squeeze win the Alabama and Iscreamuscream win the Del Mar Oaks. What were your takeaways from those races?
Well, the Alabama was basically a consolation prize for some of the better 3-year-old fillies not named Torpedo Anna. But it still turned out to be a very exciting race. As you mentioned, Power Squeeze was the winner, narrowly notching her third graded win of the season over Candied. And this followed 2 previous graded scores in the Gulfstream Park Oaks and then a nose victory in the Delaware Oaks. So Power Squeeze has shown to be a very dependable filly in tight finishes like this and at Delaware Park last time. And I think trainer Jorge Delgado has done really right by her this season. He basically took the hint after decisive losses to Torpedo Anna in the Kentucky Oaks and Acorn that she wasn't really a match for that rival, but that there are plenty of other lucrative and prestigious races that she can run in and win. So broader picture, I don't think Power Squeezes or Candied stock rose substantially as far as making them major Breeders' Cup Distaff contenders is concerned, but I think both of them project to be faster and stronger 4-year-olds next year. As far as the Del Mar Oaks, I'm taking nothing away from the undefeated winner Iscreamuscream, but I don't think we saw the very best from 6-5 favorite Whiskey Decision. I noted that filly previously in the roundtable after watching her win her first 2 starts on the turf quite brilliantly in an allowance at Churchill and in the Christiana Stakes at Delaware. Whiskey Decision proved a bit impatient when making a premature move to the lead down the backside, and she was basically finished by the quarter pole. So I don't think these two are going to meet again the rest of the season, but I do expect Whiskey Decision to should make a better show of it wherever she ends up next time, James.
Yeah, I'll focus on Power Squeeze. I'll echo some of the same points. I thought that was a courageous win on her part, edging. She got dismissed at 6-1, essentially overlooked at 6-1. Power Squeeze did. Candied was the 7-5 or 8-5 favorite, and like you said, Vance, Power Squeeze's only losses this year have come at the hands of Torpedo Anna. And when she captured the Delaware Oaks in July in her previous start, she beat odds-on Sidamara in there and did it very courageously by a nose. I mean, this filly is now won 2 races in a row in head-bobbing finishes where she's come out on the right side of it. And Delgado talked about her. Essentially, she knows where the wire is, and she will put it all on the line to win these races when they're tight. But Delgado had said after the Delaware Oaks, when they asked him what's next, he said, we're going to Alabama only if Torpedo Anna's not in there. If she's running in that race, we're going to go someplace else because, like Vance referenced, they don't want any part of her. They don't want any part of the presumed 3-year-old filly champion. But Power Squeeze is 5 for 5 this year in races that didn't have Torpedo Anna, and all 5 of them are stakes victories. And in this era where you have a filly who's competing, she's made 3 of her last 4 starts in Grade 1 events, to record 5 wins already in the same season by the middle of August is pretty good. You got to give her credit for winning all these stakes races this year. She's going to be the horse to beat in the cotillion because Torpedo Anna won't, wheel back on a 3-week rest for that race. And, I just got to give her credit for taking advantage of every opportunity when she didn't have to face Torpedo Anna this season. As far as Candy goes, she gets knocked sideways. We could see it a little bit where this, or we just missed it. But basically, the pace setter in this race runs out of gas in upper stretch and starts drifting out, causing this chain reaction, which knocked Candy off course a little bit. But she still came up short in the end on the wire. And Candy was a Grade 1 winner last year who ran a close third in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, and more was expected of her at age 3, and she has dropped all 3 graded stakes attempts this year. So she does have a stakes win, a listed stakes win in Lady Secret, but she's got to do better moving forward. I would think that she still has plenty of opportunities. They'd run a filly like her at age 4, but it's been a little bit of a disappointing season, I think, for Power Squeeze, Ashley. I mean, I'm sorry, for Candied. It's been a little bit of a disappointing season for Candied, Ashley.
I agree. That was my future wager in the Oaks. Was hoping she'd make the field, but just can't seem to get a graded stakes victory in her 3-year-old season so far. As for Power Squeeze, I'll focus on Power Squeeze as well. Has won 6 of her last 8 starts and has not been favored in any of those starts. And as you mentioned, with no Torpedo Anna in the cotillion, fully expect we'll see her finally be a post-time favorite after continuing to defy the odds. I was a little surprised she was the 4th choice in this race. And Jorge Delgado said, I hope they keep rolling against her because she's going to keep winning. He also got his first Grade 1 victory with this race as well. So congrats to him and congrats to Power Squeeze. I felt like when I saw her in the field, I thought to myself, she's probably going to do it again. We're going to overlook her and she's going to do it again. So there you have it. Well, let's move over to what else caught your eye from the weekend. So James, what was that for you?
Well, I'll mention 2 horses. I'll start with Subsanador. He was an Argentinian. He was a 2-year-old champ in Argentina. One thing about him is in Argentina, Subsanador never ran at a distance beyond a mile and a 16th. But he shipped over to Richard Mandela for the 2024, or shipped up from Argentina to Richard Mandela for the 2024 season. And his last 2 starts had come a mile and a quarter races. He finished 2nd in the Santa Anita Handicap and 4th in the Hollywood Gold Cup. And off of that Gold Cup effort, Mandela elected to cut him back in distance, and instead of racing him at Del Mar, either the San Diego earlier in the meet at a mile and a 16th, it either came up too early or he didn't want to run against the perhaps rivals in that race. He opted for this Islin. The Islin does award a $15,000 towards entry fees to the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, so there was an added bonus for going for that race. But I loved his effort. He took a huge step forward off of his first 3 starts for Mandela. He ran once over the winner before those last 2 I referenced. He basically, Il Miracola, who multiple Grade 3 winner, who was going to run into Whitney and stretched out in favor of the Islin, had everything his own way on the front end on Saturday. And Subsanador launched this move off the far turn and rolled right by him and basically just kept him at bay to the wire to score by about 1.5 lengths. He got a 104 Bristnet speed rating. And I just thought, clearly established himself as a top contender, as a new player for this year's Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile at Del Mar. The other horse I'll mention is Citizen Bull. This is a 2-year-old colt who opened his racing career at Del Mar with a front-running win in a 5.5 furlong maiden special weight. He's by End of Mischief, a 2-time Kentucky Derby winning sire, and he's from the immediate female family of Horse of the Year favorite Trick, who there's definitely a good mix of speed and stamina in these bloodlines. One thing, Bob Baffert talked to Andrew Brown prior to Saturday's race, and Baffert had 2 in the field, and he thought that Citizen Bull might be a work away. I mean, he told Andrew Brown that Citizen Bull could probably use another word, but this is the time to get races into these horses, and he would rather put a race into them instead of just keep working them. But he did expect his stablemate and perhaps others in that field to show more speed than Citizen Bull. Instead, Citizen Bull broke on the front end, showed high speed from the start, winning by a length. And I thought that was a really strong field where the top 4 finishers can all perhaps, go on and be good horses moving forward. Citizen Bull received a 92 Bristad speed rating. That's an excellent number for a debuting 2-year-old, and easily the top figure earned by any 2-year-old in North America last week. So that's one to watch out for moving forward, Vance.
I'll bring up Concord Green, who's a 2-year-old first-time starter at Saratoga on Saturday for owner-breeder Stuart Janney and trainer Shug McGahee. And he produced an effective debut win, going 1 1/16 on the turf. He broke a bit slow, found himself nearly a dozen lengths off the pace down the backside. Finally, he kind of extricated himself from a ground-saving position in the stretch, gained some momentum, and as you see here, he responded to some coaxing from jockey Dylan Davis and then was handridden here in the final stages to win as a 13-1 long shot. The time was nothing special, 1:46 and change, but the track had received quite a bit of rain, obviously, in the past week, and all meet for that matter, so I won't put too much emphasis on that. As you might expect from a Janney homebred, Concord Green has some pedigree power to him. He's by Warfront, who stands at Claiborne Farm, where this horse presumably was raised. He's a half-brother to Transylvania winner Scarlet Sky, and his second dam produced another Grade 3 winner in My Impression. This female family has thrown graded stakes winners pretty much every generation. They include Grade 1 winner for Samurai, Remsen winner O Prado again, and the sprinting mare Sky Blue Pink. So this horse, McGahee was pretty high on him. I read some quotes after the race that he was very high on him all throughout his preparation for this debut. And McGahee mentioned that this horse is probably going to jump into stakes company for his next start. They're looking at the Pilgrim Stakes at Aqueduct or possibly the Bourbon Stakes at Keeneland. Both of those are major preps for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. So we'll see if Concord Green will live up to expectations going forward, Ashley.
I have a maiden special weight race as well that was on my radar. As I mentioned, Twin Spires was at Woodbine this weekend, and on Saturday, weather did cancel races 6 through 13, but we were able to get 5 races sent off before the weather canceled everything else, which we will see the stakes races run on Friday now at Woodbine. But in race 4, we saw Gary Barber and Mark Casse pair up to go 1-2 in a 7-furlong maiden special weight, and the winner ready to battle is by Preakness winner War of Will, also earned by Barber and trained by Mark Casse. And with the win, War of Will recorded his 7th winner as a sire, and he moved up to 5th in the first crop sire rankings by progeny earnings. He also got a winner with She's Got Will, who won on debut on Thursday at Saratoga on the turf. And we're following first crop sires, but I don't think any of us picked War of Will. So I guess we kind of overlooked him as a sire, but we've got some good ones too. Complexity of Acoma, obviously, but War of Will doing very well now as a stallion. So that was exciting to see. And I got to talk to Gary Barber after the win, as well as Mark Casse, Kevin Attard. And we actually have a clip from Kevin Attard. He has 4 in the King's Plate field, as I mentioned again, racing on Friday now because of the postponement with the weather. So let's take a look.
So you have 4 in the field, kind of a variety of run styles. How do you plan when you have 4 runners in a big race like this?
It's hard, to be quite honest. You know, you want to let each individual kind of run its race. You know, we've got jockeys that we're very confident in, and they're going to have to make the decisions while they're out there.
You have the lone filly in the field, have one with Moira. So first of all, talk about the feelings, the emotions when Moira set the stakes record in the King's Plate or the Queen's Plate at the time.
Yeah, very exciting. You know, you still get to see kind of little clips of it now and then, and you know, a very special horse. Obviously, my first and only Queen's Plate, King's Plate win. We're hoping to add to that on Saturday, and it would obviously be thrilling to do it with any horse. obviously we've been, fortunate enough to have a filly win in record time. So Caitlin, her greatness is doing well, and we're excited to see her in the starting gate.
And congrats on the big win with Moira last week. So what would it mean to you to win the Breeders' Cup filly and mare turf?
Yeah, that would be really exciting. Obviously a lifetime dream goal, and she's doing really well. She seems to be kind of one of the best turf fillies in North America, and she's run twice this season and 2 big performances. So we're excited. We're hoping she stays healthy, and this year the E.B. Taylor's kind of positioned a little earlier in the calendar, so it gives us a little bit more time heading into the Breeders' Cup, which I like. So I think she's going to be a little bit fresher this time around, going to California. Obviously, it being on the West Coast, you're hoping for firm turf, something that she likes. So we're hoping the weather gods play in our favor as well.
And lastly, you beat Fev Rover in the race last week, and then there's 3 from Mark Cassia's barn in the King's Plate. Is there a little rivalry brewing here?
Yeah, absolutely. Mark is the top dog here. He holds a good hand going into the King's Plate, and I would be lying to tell you that I'm not looking forward to beating him and winning. So we're going out there. We're going to give it our best. He holds a better hand right now, but we're hoping that one of our guys kind of really steps up and takes the top prize.
Thank you so much, and best of luck this week.
I appreciate it. We always need it. Thank you.
All right, you heard it right there. And I'm still sticking with Caitlin, her greatness in my.
Yeah, that was my pick. Great interview, by the way. You really got some good answers from Kevin. And you mentioned War of Will. He had a horse in the race, one of the Catch a Glimpse stakes. There was a War of Will in there for Cassie that I liked. So I think Vacoma and Complexity, they just got off such a brilliant start to stud this summer that they sort of took away, the fact that the real racing gets going in the fall. That's when things really sort of get serious for these 2-year-olds, late summer and into the fall. And we've already seen McKinsey starting to come along. War of Will starting to come along. Game Winner has a really nice 2-year-old out there. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Authentic get some winners as well. So, I like Caitlin, her greatness also. Friday and Saturday are going to be so stakes packed. They put these Woodbine stakes. There's going to be Charlestown on Friday, a bunch of stakes races, good horses, Personal Ensign, and then, of course, that Blockbuster card on Saturday.
And I wanted to mention we still have our 15% profit boost for Woodbine on Friday at Twin Spires. Plus, we have free Bristnet past performances. So head to bristnet.com and, of course, twinspires.com or the app to opt into that promo. And now let's talk the big Travers Day card. So let's see here. Who do I want to go with? James, since you'll be at the Travers, tell me, what are you looking forward to?
Well, Torpedo Anna has shown her tractability this season. She raced up to close to the pace in 3 of her 4 starts, sat second or third before taking over and winning in dominant fashion. But when she was drawn inside the speed or towards the inside in the Kentucky Oaks, Brian Hernandez sees and Torpedo Anna sees the initiative from when the second the gates open, went right to the front, took them wire to wire, and drawing the rail post in the Travers. I think the strategy is going to be exactly the same. I think she's going to be the one to catch. And, this is a filly that if you look at her numbers, whether it's speed ratings, I use the Bristnet speed ratings, but I've looked at the Thoroughgraph and other performance indexes, and her numbers are just a little bit lower than Fierceness, Sierra Leone, especially Sierra Leone and Dornick, and as well as Fierceness. But I would say that, she just hasn't been really tested this year. I think she's got more to offer. I think this is her first big major engagement, and I think she's going to show up with a career best performance. And now she has to negotiate the 1.25 mile distance, but if she handles that 10 furlong trip, I think she's leading wire to wire in the Travers. And I'll mention one other course on the undercard, since I won't be on the jury Thursday. Caglia Ostro. I love this horse cutting back to 7 furlongs. I think he's going to be a one-turn, really accomplished performer. He's following the same path as Cody's Wish 2 years ago, where he was running in all these route races, Then he wins the Hanshin at a one-turn mile and was super impressive, defeating 7 graded stakes winners Cagliostro last time. That was a really strong field at Churchill Downs that he beat, and he won it in dominant fashion. He's going to relish the 7 furlong distance, and I love him for Cherie DeVaux in the Forgo Stakes Saturday. Vance, what are you looking forward to?
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing how a lot of these races this weekend will impact not only the Eclipse Award races, but also I'm sure some of them will determine some of the future favorites for the Breeders' Cup races at Del Mar. We start on Friday in the Personal Ensign. We'll have a rematch between Idiomatic and Randomized. That should clarify the leader among the older dirt females and possibly produce the distaff favorite. The Travers on Saturday, obviously, will finally get a clear-cut leader among the 3-year-old colts, hopefully, knock on wood. We've got Dornoch, Sierra Leone, and Fierceness in that 3-way battle. On the undercard, the intended ballerina handicap showdown between Vava and Sweet Azteca won't happen, unfortunately. The connections of Sweet Azteca chose to stay at Del Mar this weekend to run in the Rancho Bernardo, but the ballerina will still be a race to watch with Vava, a solid choice in there. And finally, I would mention the Sword Dancers Stakes, mile and a half on the turf. It only got a field of 6, and Godolphin is likely to dominate that race. Measured time, multiple Group 1 winner comes off a powerful win, going a mile and 3/16 in the Manhattan at Saratoga. But he's 0 for 1 going a mile and a half, hasn't had many opportunities to try the distance, but his stablemate Silver Knot has, and he's evolved into perhaps America's best long-distance turf specialist this year. He enters the Sword Dancer with consecutive wins in the Elkhorn, the Man o' War, and Bowling Green. So, and both horses like to race fairly prominently, so it should be perhaps a 1-2 ding-dong battle over 12 furlongs between those two horses. So that's some of the things that I'm looking forward to on a big Travers Day weekend, Ashley.
Sword Dancer is my big highlight for me. Silver Knot came here to the U.S. and was on a 7-loss streak, and then got the win in the Elkhorn against his stablemate, who was heavily favored, Bold Act, but Speed was definitely favored at Keenelander in the spring meet, and we saw Silver Knot get out front pretty early and got the win, then went on a 3-win streak. Now the favorite in this race, and I do think Measured Time is probably going to be difficult to beat here with William Buick aboard. We just saw him win with Nation's Pride at the Arlington Million. And I did want to mention real quickly too, I'm excited with Sierra Leone being the 4th choice on the morning line. I think with all that early speed, I'm looking for him to close late, finally bounce back and get a win. So I'm excited to bet him, because I think finally I'm going to get maybe even 5-1, at post time. So I'm looking forward to that.
Even if he loses, Ashley, don't jump off him. You're going to be right eventually with Sierra Leone again. He's going to get there for you eventually. But
I know.
You might be right on Saturday.
What about you, Vance? Do you have any leanings in the Travers?
I don't at the moment, although I was looking at the race a little bit before we got on the air here, and there is a ton of speed in this race. And I'm confident that Sierra Leone is definitely going to get the fractions that he would need to close into this and win this over a mile and a quarter. And it's going to be a much better distance for him than a mile and an eighth was earlier in the season. But it's a very competitive race. I could see Fierceness running another bang-up race possibly, but he's a bit untested beyond a mile and an eighth himself. So like I said, it should be an absolutely fascinating race. And
Vance, you made a good point about that personal incident too. These races, if Torpedo Anna wins this Breeders' Cup Distaff, these races for older mares during this Fillies and Mares in the seasons are critically important. So it's important for randomizing Idiomatic for whoever wins that race, because they got to deal with Adair Manor on the West Coast. She's in the same boat. If she keeps winning, it could come down to the voters if Torpedo Anna wins the race at Del Mar.
Yeah, the distaff, if the top 3 or 4 fillies and mares all arrive in the distaff at Del Mar, it's going to be a bang-up race and one of the highlights of that weekend.
All right, well, it's going to be exciting. That's all the time we have for the Racing Roundtable. James, enjoy Saratoga.
Thank you, Ashley.
We'll be back next Tuesday with more recaps. We'll see you next time.
Nice.